actually the person that actually recommend told me to apply had these questions in hand initially, but I didn't know. I didn't try to like. So it was one thing like when you have someone that's friends that kind of like brings a job to you. You try to question the person too also more. So something I didn't do, and then apparently I already gone ahead to do the interview without asking him. And then when I told him my interview was so time, all I just saw was him forwarding questions to me. But meanwhile, I had already done it. So it was something I also learned that you have to like carry anybody that comes to you with the information and then also try to like the other part was the questions also in terms of the star approach. Yeah, I tried to tell you make it a story. I tried to tell stories, but when he reviewed the answers, it was like, oh no, this is not still worth it because I mean there's still this level to this star approach that you need to put in your resume and then in your interview.
Oh, thank you very much, Afsa, for for sharing that experience. I'm sure that you've learned a lot from that. You mentioned what's the word? You mentioned star. I believe the S is story, right? So what's the T A or R or something? I believe it's STR, right?
So the star is situation. Like you tell I'm trying to like explain what the situation was like. Then the T is the task. So what's like or what were you expected to do during like that situation? Then your A is your action. What were the things you did, like your approach to with your task and then also trying to like handle the situation. And the R is the results, like what were you able to achieve from it.
Oh, okay, so to be sure I get you correctly, you're saying situation, what's what? R is what's okay. Can you quickly reiterate that? I think I got lost.
Okay. So I
I
said
know it,
S is the situation.
yeah.
That situation is like where you find like what like the circumstance around you then, like whatever circumstance it was. Then T is the task. Like what were you supposed to do? Like what was your role? What were you expected to do? Then your A is your action. What did you do? You may not necessarily carry out you have to carry out your task, but you have a situation that's kind of like hindering you from carrying out the normal task you're supposed to do. So your A is like your action. What strategy did you put in place? That's what the A is. Then your R is okay with the strategies and then carrying out the task in that situation. What was the result? Positive or negative or that's what.
Oh, thank you for clarifying that. That I mean really was what that may mix the this storytelling approach, like there is first the challenge and then the hero he finds a resolution. I mean he's forced to take decision, right? And then he find an approach to solving a particular problem. Thank you very much. So and then another question I have, which was like, so you said you what's the word? You had issues with no, you said you struggle to fit in your achievements into a what's the word? Into a single page review.
One
So I'm
page.
wondering, is there a sorry for continuing? Is there a what's the word? Is there a rule to say it has to be a single page what's the word? Has to be a single page resume or it has to be unlimited as you want. Of course, it cannot be unlimited. Right? Is there like a rule, like saying, oh, it has to be one, it has to be two, it has to be three? Is it just intuition or something? Like, could you clarify
Okay.
that?
Yeah, so like most of the time when I hear about resumes, I've always heard this rule of your resume should just be a one page thing. And then if you're trying to make your CV, your CV can be two, 3 pages. And then for me, I feel like I'm into like the entry level aspect, like still a student. And then I also have heard this rule of as a student or as an entry level person, it just has to be a page for us at this level. So it's something that I always feel like, anytime I'm trying to make my resume, it has to be one page. But I'm sure our facilitator, when she joins, she's going to clarify on this. I mean, it's one question we need to ask her. It's one question we need to know if it has to be one page. And then as a student, can I submit a CV instead of submitting a resume?
All right, exactly. So I was like, oh, we're going to defer these questions to what the word our host by the time they join. So I want to quickly read a message from the chat. So Umi Yafele, who I called earlier, Oluwafemi, he said, okay, so he's saying, okay, so my job application journey has been a lot. Let me summarize. Trying to modify yourself into the job requirements. So I kind of do my research carefully and ask people who have worked in such areas in order to tailor my experience with the job. Sorry for the dog behind. Dog back behind. Okay, so what I get from his conversation, I mean from his text is this that his own strategy is focusing more on research on understanding the job he's trying to apply for. And what's the word? And oh, I think we have ours already. All right, thank you. Good afternoon. Um, Goodness, Armstrong. So that's our invited guest, and they should be sharing us. I mean, please you can probably speak.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me very well? I sorry, we'll be waiting for you all the.
Apparently, the whole of Lagos has to stand still for the video to get wetted. So,
I'm
um,
sorry.
and the rain is not helping either, so it's fine. It's good to have you guys. How's everyone doing?
Yeah, we're all doing great. Give it, good to be here. So sorry, I'd like to confidence. Yeah,
Sorry?
yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to become on confidence. She's on this call, so she's meant to be the moderator. She also had network issues. This one. Oh, I think she's still having network issues, right? Okay. Yeah. So I think I will leave the stage to you. Goodness Armstrong. So you can. Do you want me to call you Adabeke or Goodness Armstrong? You got you. I can hear you clearly. Sorry. I think you're on mute.
That is fine. That is fine.
All right, that is fine. Okay, that you have to say.
And I think we should reduce that significantly. I don't think we should pay them more than 10,000 for 3 days.
So, how's everyone doing? Hello. Can I get some feedback, reactions? And let's know it's not only Daniel on this call. Where's our comment section? Yes. Okay. Okay. I can see the comments. Okay, good. Hi, Oluwafemi. There's background noise. I know I'm in the office. I want to take this call from home. But again, the rain is not helping with network, so I had to come into the office. But can you guys hear me loud and clear?
Yes, I can. We can hear you.
Don't worry, my colleague will soon be done with his call around. I'll ask him to keep quiet.
Okay. So,
Go ahead.
while we wait, while we wait for your colleague to be done, can I just give you a brief introduction for those who do not know you? I realized I was
Please
chatting
go
with you
ahead.
personally. Yeah, but thank you very much. So, all right, so quickly just read your profile. Goodness Armstrong, as she likes to be called, Ada, right? She's an HR leader and a talent recruiter. She also works as an advisor for startups and she's an ecosystem builder. She's the founder of Career Space Africa, a company focused on supporting African students and getting them equipped and ready to launch successful careers and innovation. She's also the founding partner at Startup HR Africa. Goodness is passionate about talent development and connecting skilled individuals to opportunities and helping organizations build great places to work. She believes in the African startup ecosystem and has been committed to enabling startups and founders build, grow, and scale with the right talent and the right culture. She started a career in business advisory and culture consulting with Great Place to Work Africa. Before joining tech giants, I think she was at Microsoft as HR business partner for Nigeria, right? Business. Okay. Okay. She was also named the top 50 HR influencers in Nigeria and has been very vocal on shaping talent and cultural conversations in the workplace on multiple tech platforms as a panelist and moderator, which is what she's doing today also. Goodness is a first class graduate of international relations rather from the prestigious University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and holds a master in international human resource management from Borel Business School, London. She's an alumnus of the Lagos Business School Leadership and Management Program, and a fellow of the Peace Tech Accelerator, Washington DC. I think that's an I have about you. Thank you very much. Yeah, she gives me a thumb up.
That's a lot, but thank you. No, I think I don't even know why people make us write all these bios, right? I don't know how important or necessary it is, but I guess it is what it is. Where usually it's only University of Lagos that deserves the prestigious. If I catch you, oh my god. It's UNN and others, please. Let's not fight.
I was
Okay,
expecting you to land. Then I saw you and then I was like, nah. Oh, we leave it to you.
story, true story. The first time I was ever in Lagos in my life was 2000, and when I joined Microsoft, it was a great place to work. That brought me to Lagos. I think 2016 was the first time I was ever in Lagos in my life. So no, it couldn't have been any like. But good to be here. Good to have you guys. I'm always excited to talk to students. I feel like my university days traumatized me a lot, and it's always good to come back to speak to students. Um, Again, he mentioned career space, and really, that's what I'm passionately building now. Um, I'm excited to speak to students because I feel like we're not prepared to succeed a lot, from the universities that we have in Nigeria. Maybe just about 2 or 3% of schools are really preparing their students for success, and that's a shame. I schooled in UNN for 4 years. Of course, made the first class, and the first thing everybody said, "Oh, be a lecturer and all that." I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. But again, what do I want to do? They weren't telling us anything about preparing us after school. I didn't even know what writing a what's it called? I didn't even know what writing a personal statement was. I didn't know what writing a CV was about. I didn't even know I'm graduating with a first class in international relations. Where can I work? Where can I apply? How do I look for jobs? Like nothing. It was just, oh, you graduated with a first class, congratulations. So yeah, now come on, lecture. And for me, I found it really strange. But I didn't know there was a solution. I just thought, okay, this is what all of us are going through. We'll find a way around it. Till I had to go for my master's in the UK. And I go into school and there's this warm reception. There is, they're telling you the student center is there to support you, to learn everything you need to do. When you're leaving school, there's employment readiness, there's CV writing, there's everything. I'm like, what? There's a thing like this, and you begin to wonder why organizations would take students to school abroad over us. It's not because of anything special. They're actually prepared for work. From third year, I know in Nigeria they send you to externships. How many schools actually take the pain to write to companies to come and take their students? Students have to go by themselves, look for. We've been hustling in this country from even when we were primary school, universities. Then there's no supportive structure for students to gain relevant work experience and grow. They give you externship, but go and do it yourself. You're graduating, do everything you have to do by yourself, and you realize that the schools are not really, what are they really doing for us besides helping us, get a certificate that again might not be useful to you at the end of the day. So my point is, what we're doing in Careers is something I'm really passionate about. It's something I realized that is a solution that I would have loved, but since I didn't have it, I'm happy to help other people have that, right? Which is career supporting students, to gain employability skills, get ready for the workplace as much as we can help. We might not be able to help all 600, 800,000 students who graduate on a yearly basis, but if we can do it for 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, we're happy about it. With that intro, I'm going to go straight into what we're talking about today. CV reviews. I have a deck. I'm just going to. Am I permitted to share my screen? I'll just dive into it straight ahead. 1 second. A window. So if you can see my screen, just let me know. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay, great. I mean, you'll already know my name. At the end of this session, what we want to really achieve is understand how to prepare for job search. You should be able to write a compelling resume, capture recruiters' attention, and learn common CV mistakes that we can avoid. I think we're having a session tomorrow. Skip that for now. So I'm going to dive into what a CV is and what a CV is not, right? So first of all, a lot of people, I see a lot of CVs, graduate student CVs, entry-level CVs, and it's all storytelling, history writing. And I like to tell people that they should think of their CV as a representative of themselves, right? Think of a CV as you, but in paper format. So if I see your CV and I see you, am I seeing the same person? Some people impersonate on their CVs. You see the CV, they call it the popular what you ordered versus what you got delivered, right? So if I see your CV, is it giving me a true picture of your skill set, of who you are, of your experiences? Some people also undersell themselves in their CV. So you see their CV, but it doesn't have the right picture of the experiences that they've had, right? So you must make sure that there's a balance of not overselling yourself and not underselling yourself. Now, what your CV is meant to do is get you a foot in the door, make it well enough that the person wants to talk to you. But the most important thing is that when you get in that room to interview, you nail the job. So your CV might not necessarily get you the job, you get yourself that job, but your CV needs to help you get an access to the door, right? And the second thing I want to say, CV is not is again your CV is not a summary of all your experiences. It doesn't have to be. So I always tell people to have a master CV that nobody gets to see, just you. Right, have a master CV where you document all your experiences, your maybe articles you've written, everything about your career journey. Document it, leadership experiences. What you realize is a lot of us are multidimensional people. You gain experiences in a lot of different things at different points in your life. I remember when I was growing up, I used to work in my uncle's office, just helping with admin duties. When I was in school, obviously I was leading a group in school. When I was doing my master's degree, I was a student ambassador in Brunel. So I went to a lot of universities talking to students about coming to Brunel University. I also became a part of the students center where I was helping other people then prepare for jobs. Now these were experiences, right? But how relevant are they to what I'm applying for? That's what then differentiates what I put in my CV and what I don't. Started my career business analysis, moved into HR. Obviously, HR was obviously the goal, but if I couldn't get HR in my first attempt, so I interned for my uncle as a HR person. Eventually got a role as a business analyst, but in a HR company where I was analyzing HR issues for the company. So it was very related. My point is, if I'm going to apply for a business analyst role today, right, that experience is relevant to me. My HR experience, maybe not. So I'm going to pick that business analysis experience, pick other related experiences of things that I've done relating to business analysis and create a resume. I don't necessarily have to put all my experiences together in that CV. You see what I mean? So your CV must be relevant to the opportunity that you're applying for. So your CV is not a summary of all your skill sets. It doesn't have to be. Your CV is a document that shows your qualification for a particular job. That's what your CV should be, right? It's a marketing material. And think of it as, if you understand anything about marketing, I know most of you are tech people, but it's also important to know other things, right? Which is why we're having this session. So even as a tech person, think of it as if you're trying to sell something to somebody, you sell the best parts of that thing, most parts, right? So they'll sell you all the good things. So your CV is supposed to tell all the good stuff about you. So I just wanted to clarify what a CV was and what it isn't. It's not a summary of all your experiences. It's a summary of all your relevant experiences, particular to the role you're applying for. Now, a lot of us, some people would come out of school studying something else and end up doing another thing. What you realize is over time in your career, your CV will start to change. As a student now, you're going to put a lot of your student experiences, to buffer your CV. But as you gain experience, those student experiences will go because they're no longer relevant to the applications that you're making, right? So I just wanted us to understand that bit of CV writing. Now we'll just go straight to some of the mistakes that people in writing their CVs, right? This one is happening because it's very, very simple. Like, proofread your CV thoroughly or ask somebody else to look at it for you. So it's one thing that you've written a really good CV, but it's badly worded. English is wrong. So many things are missing. So many typos. It's just, for some recruiters, I'm very lenient because I work with a lot of students. I can overlook certain things, but I'm 1 in 1 million. There's not a lot of people who would condone, little things like that. So I think it's important that when you're submitting a document as important as your CV. You take an extra 5 minutes, 10 minutes, look at it, ensure that it's proofread. Till tomorrow, I still see people submit their CVs without a phone number. I still see people submit their CVs without an email address. How do I reach you? How? So you're not just checking for grammatical error, you're checking that the relevant information is there, you're checking that everything you're putting out is correct. So use tools that help you spell check, like Grammarly, to ensure that you're making and covering the basics right, including irrelevant information. Till now, I still see people add their age, date of birth, village, number of children that they and their family. All of that is not necessary. Even now, we're not asking people to even take out like your call street address. We're not coming to look for you. We're not CIA. Just tell me you're in Lagos, Nigeria. So all of this information, as long as it's not relevant to that application, you can leave it out. Your CV should be as light as possible, but as relevant as possible. I see some CVs, they write he, she. Not necessary, to be honest. Your incomplete work history. So if you've done something and it's relevant to that role, add it. You never know if that's what's going to give you the edge over other people. Remember that you're applying to a very wide job market. I'm not just looking at, except the job is very specific to Lagos. I'm not just looking at talent in Lagos. I'm looking at talent all over the world. If I'm looking for a remote role, for instance, where a lot of us play, I'm looking for a DevOps guy, I'm looking for a back-end developer. I can hire someone in Maiduguri for all I care, as long as you're getting the job done. So know that your competition is not in a life student, it's not perhaps students. You're competing with a very huge market. So you want to be sure that your spellings, your everything is checked and on point, right? This goes without saying. prettymama@gmail.com. Let's trash it. Let's not be doing things like this. Your name, your surname. If it doesn't exist, your name dot your surname. If it doesn't exist, officialada@gmail.com. There's something that must work that is not pretty mama or starboy@gmail.com or David two shoes, something weird. No, let's leave all that and use good emails, right? Just put in a good light. You remember that perception is so strong. People can just, for that reason alone, perceive you as unserious, and that's just not good. So, and then don't exaggerate or lie about your accomplishments. On the other side, don't also ignore your accomplishments. So if there's something that you've done, you've gotten a recognition. I was looking at a girl's CV, and she said she had won the Governor's Award for Student of the Year, and she didn't put it on her CV. I'm like, huh? Why? I said, that's the first line you see on my CV straight. I'm not even going to mince words. So don't look down on any little accomplishments. They mean a lot, right? And we're going to quickly talk about the perfect CV and what it looks like. A CV is really easy. I think a lot of us have complicated CV writing by just doing the most. The most important thing, first of all, starts with the contact information. Have your name, your phone number, your professional email, LinkedIn profile if you have. If you do not have, a GitHub profile if you have. If you do not have a profile if you have one. If you have a personal website, feel free to add it. But that's it. That's the first basic thing that there must have in CV. This one is number one. Make sure your contact information is correct. Now, summary. I wrote summary and objective because I see a lot of people write objective, but stop writing objective on your CV. Nobody wants to know what your career objective is. To be honest, I'm not hiring you because of your career objective. I'm hiring you based on what I need for my company, right? So a summary is more appropriate. So you can write a summary or a profile. So you can write a summary or a profile, right? Where you're telling me who you are as a person in your career. So very concise. Goodness is a HR professional who has 3 years of work experience. Once I read that bio, I should be able to know 1, 2, 3 things about you, where you maybe what industries you have experience in as a student. Goodness is a recent graduate of biochemistry, uh, skilled in doing this and this and this. What's it called? And have had experiences leading student communities in this and this. That's it. Little bio experiences you've had, your skill set, and that's about it. It's a summary. Number 2, you can totally leave it out. If you don't know what to write, leave it out. It's not compulsory as your contact information, but it's a good thing to put on your CV if you have something meaningful to write. But if you don't, it's not a must. You can leave it. Okay. Go straight to your technical skills. For technical students or people who have some technical experience, list the tools you use, the languages you write. This is a very important part of your CV, because what you realize is a lot of the time people have specific things they're looking for in recent graduates, whatever. So even if I'm looking for someone that has no experience, right? If you have some experiences, it stands you out. If you have some technical skills, it stands you out. So it's important that you list the technical skills that you have. And technical skills don't always have to be Python or this or that. Sometimes is email writing. It's a very technical skill. Sometimes it's as little as technical writing. It's as little as public. Like these things are technical skills. It doesn't have to be coding or or languages alone. If you have experiences that you've worked, so I know a lot of students that are working today. So what you realize is some people come out of school with 2-3 years of work experience already, which is amazing. The guy who built our website, Career Space Africa, if you go and check it out, it's a student that built it, and the compliments we get on that website every day is ridiculous. And he was in final year when he built that website. For us, part of what we want to do is to be able to give students access to jobs, because we know that there's skilled talent in universities who can do with the work experience and the time and to build their skill set. So if you've done projects, make sure that you're able to cite it in your CV. You can put a link to the work you've done, or if it's something, so for instance, you can't share your codes with us, right? But if it's a website you built, be able to cite the website. If it's a project you built, if it's confidential information that you're not able to share, you can write what you did and the company you did it for, right? It's always important if you've done something to cite it. So if I'm interested in going to look it up further, then by all means. It's important to cite numbers as well, but to be honest, sometimes we can't verify these numbers, so it's not a mandatory, especially for technical talent. If you increase the speed, so for instance, you use Python to increase maybe improve the development of your website, yada yada yada, which is good, but I can't verify that. So I just want to know that you sure can use Python to do good work. That's it. Whether you put the percentage or not, it really doesn't affect me. But one thing you must know about CV writing is the person looking at your CV is a subjective person, except your CV is going through a tool, right? It's going to be subjected to the preferences of the recruiter who's looking at your CV. Just know it and have peace. Sometimes it's not you, it's the recruiter and what they like, okay? So you want to err on the side of don't do too much so that you're not subject to bias. So I would say leave the numbers out. But if you've done 20 projects, right? I have completed 20 projects. That's a bit more quantifiable than 20%. See what I mean? Education. So for a student, because we're still students, if you don't have a lot of experience, I would say your education should come up and then your experiences should come afterwards, so that we know that you went to school. Do you see what I mean? And you graduated, and if you had a great grade, even better. If not, it's also fine. At the end of the day, we're now moving into a skilled economy where your skills matter more than your grade. So it's important to go to school, but it's more important to know a skill. Trust me. Because I would hire a dropout who can build me the best app and the best website than a student who can do nothing, or a graduate who can do nothing. So we're moving into a skilled economy. It's important to have skills, right? So education is great because we're still in our economy. Education validates your experience. sort of certifications as education. They're good, they're great, they validate that you can do what you say you can do, which is great. But when it gets to doing the work, can you do the work? That's what most people are after. Okay. Yeah. So if you have a GitHub, Kaggle portfolio, include a link on your CV as well. It's important that as a graduate as well, that your CV is not more than one page if you don't have a lot of experience, because it's a very basic. I'm not looking, so if I'm hiring a graduate hire today, I know that I'm not looking for the biggest experience, but I'm looking for someone who is inquisitive enough to have, let's say you're interested in tech, at least you should have done some certifications in technology. At least you should have maybe volunteered to do a technical project somewhere. At least you should have done some, if you could get on any school project, personal project, help somebody out, but done something to test your your passion as it were, right? Especially if it's something you can, for instance, you're passionate about UI UX graphic design, you've taken a course in graphic design. Who says that you couldn't have taken the initiative to redesign your school website? You could have done that. You could have redesigned any. You can even take up Jumia's website, redesign it for them, even if they don't use it. It's something you're using to prove that you learned something and you can do it. There are a lot of pet projects you can take up, just to build up your skills. Take up projects in church, take up projects in your community. Do something that validates your passion or your skill, right? If you tell me that you're passionate about elderly people and giving them a better life, you should have taken a bag of rice one time to an elderly home or something. Number two, always document. I think this is a mistake I also made growing up, even in my early career days. I just used to do stuff. I never used to take pictures or document or write. I never used to do all that. But I think it's important now that you start to do it, because in 3, 4, 5 years, you want to apply for something in the US or in the UK or anywhere in the world. Evidence, very key. They want to see proof that you've done it. Is it an email, proof of an email or something you wrote? Is it proof of your visual? Is it a picture? So if you're doing projects, keep it in your database, in your Google Sheets, in your OneDrives, wherever, but make sure you're keeping evidence of your work. No matter where you started, no matter how small, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it will show progress. You can even go back to the work you did 3, 4 years ago and say, look at where I started. It's very important. So always keep proof of your work. That's key. Before we go into the CV samples, any questions? I don't think I can read. Can I read?
Let's see. Okay, I think I have Etsy. You have questions.
Okay, I'm just gonna pause and take questions.
Yeah. So we run out of time on this particular link now, so I'll share another Google Meet link in chat, which you can join with, right? I don't know if it's clear. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I'm joining the Google link now.
Yeah. So I think we'll be having like 2 or 3 minutes out now. Yeah. So Etsy Taiwo, please, we go on to the question.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Hi, Taiwo. Good
Yeah,
afternoon.
yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Hi,
Go
Taiwo. Good afternoon. I can hear you.
Yes, I just want to know if it's possible to get access to the slides that you just displayed now.
Yes,
Like,
Taiwo. I'll share the slides.
okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's my question.
Okay. We had another
Sorry,
hand.
so I have a question.
Yes. Are you ready?
Yeah, good afternoon.